Welcome to Curated Clean, the podcast,
where we get our hands dirty so you don't have to.
We are your curators and your hosts. My name is Mike.
I'm Mandy.
And I'm Whitney.
Today, I'm starting off with a quiz. Pop quiz, everybody. What does water, vinegar, salt, and electricity equal?
Something dangerous?
You're wrong. You timed out. If you've never heard of hypochlorous acid before, you soon will. We're going to talk about it today with a couple of products. We have a review for you. This ingredient isn't exactly new, but it's become extremely buzzy lately, especially in this new world of at least last year. So, hypochlorous acid. Today, the products we're going to review are Nixall. They're two name brands, Nixall and Force of Nature. We're going to talk about how we've reviewed them, how we've been using them, how we like them, and then we're going to rate them at the end for you. But let's go over, if we're going to talk about it, you have to know what it is. So hypochlorous acid is a weak acid that forms when chlorine dissolves in water and itself partially dissociates, forming hypochlorite. At the end of the day, the two parts of it end up being oxidizers, and it's a primary disinfectant for chlorine solutions. Now that we're through the really boring stuff, at the end of the day, all you really need to know and how it's been described to me is it's an open cell chlorine that your body sees as a salt.
Right.
So it's not like you're going to dump, chlorine bleach all over your body and get really irritated. And we're going to talk about why that is. So Mandy has a little history lesson for you.
Well, no, it's just that it's been around for a while, like you said. So hypochlorous acid was discovered in 1834 by a French chemist named Anthony Jerome Ballard.
He sounds important.
A fancy
Very
man.
important.
And then we skip ahead to World War I, and we've got a couple guys, they're looking around, they're seeing the carnage, they're seeing all this destruction, they're seeing these poor guys on the field from battle.
A lot of open wounds and sores.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff going on. Not to make light of it, just saying they were trying to think how they were going to help these guys get through, because sepsis, obviously, as we know, is a huge problem on battlefields.
Right.
So this Nobel laureate, also French, Alexis Carrel, and a British biochemist, Drysdale Dakin, and they found a way to stabilize this
and that's
solution.
The key. That's the key here is that it's not that it's hard to make, it is hard to stabilize. And so that was the key factor between 1834 to World War I.
Because all these ingredients are easy to find and easy to access as well, but they're at that time, they did not have the technology.
Yeah. How do we stabilize it? So they found a way to stabilize it with some water and boric acid. Pretty easy. Hey. And they discovered that it accelerated the healing process, saved countless lives, and it prevented sepsis. So,
and the reason why it can do that is because hypochlorous acid is found naturally in white blood cells of mammals, and of course that includes the human body. It is non-toxic and has been used as a safe wound care solution for many years, obviously since World War I, as far as using it on the battlefield and getting what we would consider actual studies on it proving its efficacy.
Right. Yeah, it's actually classified as non-hazardous by the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency here in the United States.
Yep. And it can do that because essentially it's a key part of when your white blood cell encounters pathogens inside the body, it creates hypochlorous acid to peel the coating off of said pathogen. And that's what makes it so effective, is that pathogen is only scary because of what it's encapsulated in. That biofilm that it's hiding behind is what allows it to maneuver through your body, and then your immune system has to go and find it. This peels that off, which is why your white blood cells make it when they encounter it. And then because that's peeled off, then it exposes that pathogen and makes it
it's a lot easier to kill.
Right, exactly.
So if you've taken if you're in battle, you've got 2 knights you've got 2 knights in armor. One takes their armor off, he's a lot more susceptible.
Yep.
To being killed.
Exactly.
So if you think about this bacteria or viruses or whatever being knights in battle inside your body, what this is doing is effectively taking their armor off. They have nothing left.
Yep.
And it makes it just a lot easier to kill.
I'm going to quote Michelle Henry, an MD and clinical instructor of dermatology at Weill Medical College in New York City. I'll also have some other quotes from Dr. Henry as well. But I liked what she said. Hypochlorous acid is a substance naturally created by our white blood cells that acts as the body's first line of defense against bacteria, irritation, and injury. I like the fact that she's bringing up something that we will talk about shortly, that you can use it for wound care. We know that, from the World War One scenario here.
Yes.
But you can use it in wound care. You can use it. I use it on bruises and even just topical irritations and that kind of stuff. And so it's not just like you can only use it in this scenario. We've really encountered there's really not much you can't use this for.
Right.
So let's get into our first review. Let's talk about Nixall. Nixall is a product, a liquid product that it's hypochlorous acid in a big bottle. It's actually made in Nixall, Missouri. Crazy enough.
Not too far from our headquarters.
Not too far. Yeah, exactly. And you buy it in a big gallon jug. You can also buy it pre-diluted in veterinary. They have a veterinary dilution. They have another one for skincare and some other things like that. Maybe has some info.
So from their website, it is called Nixall Wound and Skin Solution, Nixall Vet Response, that's the animal product, Nixall Cleanser, and finally the Nixall Disinfectant Sanitizer. That is the one that is used primarily in hospitals, in clinics, and things like that.
Yep. And that one has a little bit shorter shelf life than the other ones do. That one has like a 30-day shelf life, although we found that it extends beyond that. But if you're going to go by EPA standards and also like even CDC guidelines, the CDC has cleared Nixall and the other one we're going to talk about, Force of Nature. They do have studies and they have guidelines at the CDC website about how it can be used against COVID-19. And so it's always important to know what they're talking about. It's usually hard, non-porous surfaces that they're discussing, and they'll tell you the cure rates or whatever that you want to call it. Like it has to sit on there for so long on a hard, non-porous surface to make it be effective.
Right. So when we're talking about Nixall, the disinfectant sanitizer having a shelf life of only 30 days, that is specific to this hospital grade where they have to be able to kill things like Staphylococcus, E. coli, MRSA. We're
SARS.
talking,
And also to talk about, these go in dilutions of parts per million is what we have found. And so Nixall in that particular strength is 500 parts per million.
Right, exactly.
So we'll get into what Force of Nature's in later when we start that review. But Nixall's in the big jug, that's usually how you find it because they're using it in hospitals and that kind of stuff. That one comes in 500 parts per million. The other ones that you discussed that have longer shelf lives are lower in dilution.
Yes, they're lower in dilution and they come in smaller, I suppose, easier to use packaging. However, it's not that big of a deal to just buy the big bottle yourself and make your own dilutions and put it in whatever packaging you want.
Yeah.
You go buy your own spray bottles, you go to wherever. Right. If you want to use only glass, totally understand that. You can get glass, you can use it however you want to use it, and make it, if you're using it for a toner for your skin or if you're using it to sanitize your kitchen, you can make whatever dilution you want. So I really find it personally more effective to just go ahead and buy the actual disinfectant sanitizer. And then I just literally went to Amazon, bought some chlorine test strips that you would check like your pool or things like that. And you can test down your dilutions to make sure your dilutions are correct. And you can also test down the effectiveness, the efficacy. So, I've actually had this for 90 days, And what I discovered was even at that point, it still had quite a high concentration. I understand that if you are in a hospital clinic setting, you will want to follow the recommendations for the 30-day shelf life. But if you're using this at home, it actually lasted a lot longer than I thought it would. So,
and I won't lie, I've used it straight. I've used
it straight as well.
And I've used it. So I want to talk a little bit about the way I've used it. So they talk about using it, spraying as a disinfectant on like cutting boards. I know a lot of meat processing plants use it for
or restaurants.
Right. Right. That kind of thing, more like commercial uses. But as far as at home, my goodness, I put it in little spray bottles. I've used it as hand sanitizer, sprayed it directly on. Now, the thing you have to get over here is it smells like bleach.
Yes,
you have to get over that fact. It smells like bleach. If you take a big old waft of it,
bleach.
But it is not chlorine bleach in the chemical sense. It is like we were talking about. Your body sees it as a salt, and so it's non-irritating. I don't know how to describe it other than it's just this. Somebody quoted it over here as the bottom line, hypochlorous acid is one of those rare unicorn-esque ingredients. They're specifically talking about of the skincare world that pretty much anyone and everyone can benefit from in some way, shape, or form. And that's what we have found is that I use it as a fruit and vegetable wash.
I do too.
I use it as a degreaser. I use it as a cleaner. I use it everywhere.
I use it as a deodorizer for my cat's litter box. So just spray it on top of the litter and just let it sit.
Yep.
Yeah, if you have an especially stinky trash can, you don't have time to like run it out to the garbage or, your garbage man hasn't come yet or whatever. You spray it in there. I mean, it neutralizes it and it really, really works.
I use it as a Febreze on my clothes. Like, can't get that washed in time. Spray it on there. I use it for that. Really, I haven't found a use for it that, I really haven't found anything that I don't use it for. It seems unlimited.
I sometimes even just sprayed myself if I leave like a place where I've been to like a doctor's office or been somewhere out in public and I feel like things are a little bit, don't have time to like change my clothes or take a shower right away. I've literally just sprayed it all over myself and just kind of used it as like a disinfectant.
I've sprayed my car down with it, my steering wheel. I spray one of my daughter's backpacks with it when she comes home from school.
Kids' car seats.
Yep. I spray everything. Bottom of shoes. We even do that. We'll spray the bottom of our shoes if we're going to wear our shoes inside the house. Typically, we leave them at the door, but it happens sometimes where you have to wear them in.
And honestly, too, I know that we're talking about this as like a disinfectant, and it's super effective at killing bacteria and viruses. Yes. But just in general, I had a friend say, well, if I invested in this, because I'm not going to lie, a big bottle of Nixall is about what, 90, 100 something dollars?
It's expensive.
It's pretty expensive. Okay?
Well, yes.
Well, okay. If you think about how you could dilute it, I don't know. I think it's worth it to me.
And if you think about all the ways that you can use it, you're not having to buy a different cleaner for like a bathroom.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
You can use it for everything we've talked about.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, my friend was like, so if I buy this expensive bottle, so then do I still have to go buy my window cleaner and I said, no, actually don't. It's super effective. I have a glass top on top of my dining room table and I use it to clean my glass top. I use it to clean my my cooktop, my stove cooktop. I use it on my windows. I use it for my countertops. Literally, there's basically not one room in my house that I can't use this in.
Right.
So
including like I've even used it as almost a booty rash spray on diaper rash and stuff. And it works great. I sprayed on toilets with it. You can spray it on your bathtub. Like after kids take a bath, you can spray that down just to make sure everything's nice and clean. Spray the surfaces. If people, I do this for serious. If people come into my house as a guest, as soon as they leave, I literally spray toys down. I spray bathrooms down. I spray, not that I don't think that people aren't clean, but anytime you bring in new people into your home, especially if you've got new babies, or in Mandy's case, has a baby who came out of the NICU, has another son with asthma. Yeah. Those are things that make them more susceptible to things, in the ordinary sense. And so being able to spray these down and cut down on pathogens, I spray door handles. I spray everything besides countertops in the regular stuff. So there's really nothing that we haven't been able to use hypochlorous acid on. Specifically right now, we're going to review Nixall. So what do we as curators think of this? Does it get your approval?
It totally gets my approval because number one, it's super effective. I mean, the parts per million, it's super concentrated. I like that I can dilute it. Like I said earlier, I like that I can make my own dilutions. Yep. Yeah. So if I need it full strength, okay, listen, this is straight up truth. We had a dog for a little while who had worms. Okay. This happened. And
it happens.
It happens.
Worms happen.
And that's not something you want, anywhere around your house or your garage or anything. And so we literally would just pour straight Nixall wherever he had been. And I knew that it was killing any leftover parasites that were around. Yep. So I felt like my house was then safe, my garage and everything was safe. Yep. I like that I can make my own dilutions. Like I said, I like that I can use it on almost any surface, including my own skin. I like that, it is just so versatile. I can use it on my windows. I can use it in my bathroom. I can use it in my kitchen. Yep. So I just, I have a lot of friends who are on this clean clean living journey. And one of the first things they wanted to do was clean up their cleaning products.
Yep.
And, clean up your cleaning products. And it's really, really hard. Even the stuff that says it's all natural, you found some.
Hold on. Let me find this quote. Keep talking, but I'll interject this quote here in a minute.
They think that they're doing something good because they are switching to this quote, quote, natural cleaning product. But then they find out it's actually not that natural.
Right. Because if it's labeled natural, what we just found out just recently was there are no federal safety standards for cleaners labeled as natural. I mean, if that's not a mic drop, I don't know what is. I mean, once again, they're allowed to say, oh, this is natural, but there are no standards to that. So, I mean,
exactly,
you could put a whole slew of natural things.
I mean, and this is
into
actually
a bag, and they not be clean or healthy for you, but they're natural,
right? Quote, quote.
Yeah, quote,
and
quote.
I mean, and this is actually created in your own body, bodies of all mammals, I think I read somewhere some dilution. It's even safe if like an animal would ingest it. You don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, my cat got into it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my dog got into it.
Yeah, actually, I also have a quote from the sprucepets.com. They're talking about a Vetericin or something. I'm not exactly sure how to say that name, but it's a product that they carry that the key component in it is hypochlorous acid. And they say that it is safe for use on all tissues. It's even safe if it's ingested by an animal.
Right.
So that's a good thing, that if you have a mischievous badger of a dog, or even if you do have a badger, and they get into things, then
you never know.
You know that it's not something like antifreeze or something like that your dog gets into.
Exactly.
I'm not saying leave it out for everybody to get into, because that's not safe either. But at least it's on the safer side of things if your dog or animal would ingest it. So Mandy has given it her Curator approval.
I'm giving it my Curator
Whitney,
approval.
what about you?
It gets my approval. Like I said, I use it on everything. I wash fruits and vegetables in it, and I obviously use it as like a surface cleaner. I spray it in my litter boxes and trash cans. I also like we just spoke about, that I've got cats and they are mischievous badgers, so I like to not have to worry about, it's not a bleach product, or it's not some kind of harsh chemical that I spray on something they're going to get into it and they get sick. I can just leave it on there, wipe it down, and we're good to go.
Because we don't often talk about, diffusing essential oils, chemicals that we spray on those things. Yes. It can give animals respiratory issues, and we don't discuss that a lot, and we kind of negate it. A lot of people, I diffused a lot of stuff in my house at one point, even essential oils. Once again, natural things. It made my dog really, really sick, and it took us a while to get her back from that, and we don't diffuse anymore, when she's in the house and stuff. So it's good to note that this doesn't even have a respiratory issue on animals and on pets, on kids, on adults, anybody inside your house.
There's a lot of products that you clean with that you still have to rinse off after you use it.
Yes.
Because your kids can't touch it and can't be around it. You don't have to worry about that with this.
Or definitely don't touch it while it's wet. Another thing is like, well, this is safe, but make sure it's completely dry before your kid puts it in their mouth. And it's like, not that I'm saying go put this in your kid's mouth, but if that would happen, it's not the end of the world, versus anything else. So obviously, I'm giving it my Curator approval. I do want to talk about one thing about Nixall, though. I have found it sometimes hard to get. If you live out of state, it's made in Missouri. If you live out of state, I believe if you buy direct off their website or even from other distributors, it is sometimes hard to get it out of state as far as that big concentration one, the 500 parts per million. The other ones that you discussed, the vet formula, the skincare formula, and that kind of stuff, those I believe can be shipped, and it's in certain, you can't get so much of it or something. It has to do with like the fluid ounces or something. So just be aware that if you live out of state and you're wanting, the more potent version, you may not be able to get it.
And if you live out of country, I was reading on their website, I believe they can help you with that, but you have to contact them directly. There's no way to actually internationally ship from the website.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, I believe it's nixall.com. Just go directly there, send an email, make a phone call. I think they even have live chat. Get on there and check them out. But it totally gets my approval. I do get a little annoyed that sometimes it's hard for me to find it because it's such a popular cleaning product around here where we live. And so sometimes I have a hard time getting a hold of it. But if I do get a hold of it, I usually buy an extra jug or something and keep it. It lasts. It's shelf stable with it fully sealed for a long time. I mean, like a couple of years, I think is what the last time that I got one. It was that. So it got a 3 out of 3 of Curated approval. If you've never tried it, we suggest you getting a little bottle to try. We don't think that you'll regret it.
Disappointed with
no.
So then the other thing we got to talk about is Force of Nature. So the difference between Nixall and Force of Nature is this. Nixall is a pre-done hypochlorous acid. Force of Nature is a tabletop version. You buy a little machine in your starter kit. It's really cute. It looks like a little beaker, almost a little, scientific beaker.
It
has a little kit.
project.
Yeah, it has a little light ring on the bottom, and that's a timer because you're making this at home. We just talked about Nixall, their big jug, their most disinfectant one is 500 parts per million. The Force of Nature makes it at 220 parts per million. And what you do is you use, we have an RO system in our house, so I use RO water, but you should use distilled water or something. Don't use tap water
with mine.
because if you use tap water, the salt and the other, I don't want to say contaminants, but the other minerals and things like that in tap water will actually steal the electrical charge and make it less potent. So you want the most potent that you can make when you're making it. So you want to use distilled water, RO water, something like that. You fill it up to a certain line on it. It says it has a fill line on it. And then they have these little cartridges that, remember in our little pop quiz we had earlier, we talked about what does water, vinegar, and salt and electricity make, hypochlorous acid. Those little cartridges have vinegar and salt in them.
Right.
And so when you mix them with the water and then plug it in and turn it on, the little machine kind of bubbles and makes your hypochlorous acid. It takes about 8 to 10 minutes usually.
Not too long. No,
It doesn't
really,
take a
if you
terribly
just-
long time, but what I like about it is if I can't get a hold of Nixall, I can make this right on the fly. As long as I have my cartridges in stock somewhere in the house, if I need it in 10 minutes, I have a fresh batch. I can make as much of it like right after another. It's not like you have to wait so long in between. As long as you dump that out and then fill it with new water, put a new cartridge in, you can keep making it.
And the good thing about the Force of Nature kit too is on the little the machine that mixes it for you. If you leave it plugged in, it has like the timer out to mix it. It also has a quote unquote timer for how long it lasts as far as like efficacy goes. So usually it lasts about a week. That I've noticed you can kind of tell on your own because sometimes I haven't made a new batch and so it ends up just smelling like vinegar when it's done. It starts out smelling like the bleach, but then I'm like, oh, I need to make a new batch because this one I'm carrying on my purse is hand sanitizer, just smells like vinegar, which vinegar will still clean, but it's not going to have as much potency as when you make it fresh, of course.
And if you're looking for it to actually disinfect highly, then you want it to smell like bleach. And that's one thing we said earlier. Oh, it smells like bleach. It's not bleach, but that's kind of a layman's term to kind of think about. A Cliff's note there is if you're going to go to use it and your Nixall or something smells like vinegar, then it's lost. It's
prime.
It's past its prime.
Right.
Not that you can't use it as a vinegar, as a degreasant. You can do that, but you've lost the chlorine element of it that you like. Now, Force of Nature at their website says, why does it only have it lasts for 2 weeks? And they're like, why does it only last 2 weeks? And their answer is, just like bubbles in a carbonated drink, hypochlorous acid starts to dissipate over time. So to be sure that Force of Nature is at its optimal power, you should use it within 2 weeks. So it depends on, I go through a bottle a week. It makes 12 ounces and it says that can last the average household 2 weeks, but I use it everywhere. So, and I spray things so often that it takes about a bottle a week. The cartridges are $19.99 for 25 capsules, and a starter kit is $56.
And with the starter kit, you also get an actual like spray bottle.
You get
spray. It looks just like a normal, and it says Force of Nature on it, so you get that with your kit, which is nice.
And it's on that bottle. It has a little thing you can use like a dry erase marker, and you can mark the date on it. It also shows you the dilution rate, that it's 220 parts per million. ppm is parts per million. So it'll say 220 ppm on it. You can put the date on there if you want, or like I said, it has a built-in timer if you hit that power button twice. Whitney was saying if you keep it left plugged in. I've also unplugged it accidentally and then plugged it back in and hit it again, and it will remember at least one time what you're, because it goes from green. Blue means it's making it. Green means that it's ready to go. Then it goes to yellow, meaning like you're less than a week, and then red means it's timed out. It's past its prime. Don't use it anymore. And it really, in general, turns to vinegar at that point. But let me talk. I want to bring up one thing that I really liked about Force of Nature's website. So they put this out there that they put their cleaner just as effective as these products. So they feel that Force of Nature, not just feel, they have third party testing on this. So they have tested and proved that it is just as effective as bleach on germs, as Formula 409 and Clorox cleanup on grease, as Windex is on glass, scrubbing bubbles is on soap scum, Resolve is on rugs, and Febreze is on odors. If they haven't named off every name brand to hit, stains on upholstery and carpet and trash cans.
It really actually does work for stains, because a few weeks ago I spilled red curry all over my carpet, which was a nice little surprise. But I sprayed Force of Nature and actually took it out. I was like, this isn't really going to work, and it took it out. There's no stain anymore because red curry stains.
Oh yeah,
And this-
curry stains
The
badly.
Force of Nature brought it right out, so
Yep.
I can vouch for that
Yep.
on the
Yeah,
carpet
yeah.
side.
It works great. And Force of Nature has a ton. They have a video on there. They have, as far as being user friendly
Right.
and educating you, they've done a really good job of
Yeah.
making it very simple. They have tons
Agreed.
of facts and questions center. Nixall very much started as a brand that was geared towards veterinary clinics,
Yes.
wound, very much into wound care, and a lot into commercial settings for disinfecting, which
Right.
I think is great. And they've bridged the gap into moving into the home setting.
Right.
But Force of Nature is literally meant to be your hypochlorous acid generator on your kitchen counter, and they've made it so super friendly, super easy. You can do a subscription for their cartridges as well. You buy them in like 25 at a time. I tend to buy when they go on sale. They do have a lot of promotion codes and that kind of stuff for you. So you can always sign up for their newsletter and then wait for them to contact you, with those kind of things. But it works great. Like I said, I use that I use it the same way that I would use Nixall too. There's really nothing that I've encountered that hasn't cleaned it. This stuff can even, Nixall and I believe, well, Force of Nature didn't cover C. diff, but Nixall does. That's another thing. Somebody had been exposed to that. So go to the CDC, go to the EPA, look at this registration number under hypochlorous acid and these name brands, and they'll give you lists of all the things that it covers. I know that specifically Force of Nature says that it is registered with the EPA. We know that already. But the things that it includes killing, 99.9% of germs, it includes Salmonella, norovirus, Listeria, Staph, MRSA, Pseudomonas, and Influenza A when used as directed. That's the key. Always use it as directed.
Right.
It's also listed under the EPA's approved disinfectants against SARS-CoV-2, which is the cause of COVID-19. So something to consider there, that if that's a concern for you, it's a good way to clean things when you've been out and about and that kind of stuff. I really suggest using on your fruits and vegetables from the store.
I do that.
A lot of people feel that they've been really clean and, they're doing what they feel that their precautions need to be. But oftentimes they forget that things that they're getting from the stores, if you want to disinfect like your phone, we keep our phones here on the table, spray it on a wipe and wipe down your phone, and those kind of things. So that's how, we really use it for everything.
Yeah, everything.
And I like how easy it is to just keep on my counter. I can use it to my heart's desire and I never run out. That's the thing. As long as I have the cartridges, I never run out.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
I could go on and on about how much I love it.
Yeah.
So would you say you're giving it your curator's approval?
Oh my goodness, let's review. Give official. Yes, it has my official approval. I love it a lot. I wish that you could go higher in the dilution,
Right.
but that's just not the case. And I'm sure that has to do with something about it being on the tabletop.
probably 'cause
Right.
you're
And
making it
so
at home.
I have seen there are other brands out there that you can make higher dilutions at home. They were a lot more expensive, number one.
Yes.
And they were a lot more finicky. They looked harder to use. I won't even lie. I literally looked at the apparatus and went, that'd take me like a month to figure that out. And so that's what I do like about Force of Nature. It's super user friendly.
Right.
And just even their getting started packet, they have a little getting started page. You can get into all the nerdy stuff in the longer one, but the quick start guide, super easy, 3 pages, you're good to go. So it definitely has my approval. I love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, I give my approval as well. Yeah,
Okay.
just
And
go ahead.
it obviously gets my approval. I've got one I use it for anything and everything, and even for the curry stains. So it definitely gets my approval.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we encourage you to try some of these out yourself. We're hoping that we can get a code for you guys to maybe use, but we'll check back on that. But what we would like to have you do is we have a new thing going. We want
Something exciting.
Something exciting. We want to do a giveaway.
Yay! Our first curated
Our
clean
first
giveaway.
clean giveaway. And we want to give away a Force of Nature starter kit because we love them so much, and we think that in this day and age, busy parents, grandparents, all y'all will just love it, love it, love it.
Guys, this is an awesome giveaway.
And then
It
we will
is.
do a drawing, and somebody will be the lucky recipient.
And somebody
You know
will
what,
Force of
win.
Nature.
How about we
kits.
do that on? We will do it live, or not live, but we can do a
Yeah.
video. We'll do a video
the drawing.
of our drawing.
We'll do a bonus listen of our
Yes.
drawing there.
Yeah.
We also want to remind you that we have really fun things coming up. So if you have not subscribed to those places, definitely subscribe to them. Not only because you can win this cool giveaway, but also because we have stink-free summer reviews coming up. We're going to review some deodorants. We're doing those pretty cool. If you like March Madness brackets, brackets, you're going to love our deodorant bracket that we have. We're going to go head to head with some of your favorite brands. Some of them you have suggested, some of them we have found. Some of them have been ones that we've used forever, and we might be changing our minds on some of these things. We also are talking about healthy skin sunscreen for this summer. We've just discovered some sunless tanners that claim to be clean. So we're going to be talking about that. So not only sunscreen.
I'm very pale, so I would not mind trying one of those out.
So not only just ways to protect your skin, but also get that lovely bronze glow.
Summer glow.
We're going to be talking about toothpaste, and we've had some listeners tune in and ask about healthy snacks and healthy summer drinks and that kind of stuff. We're listening to you, and we are reviewing them currently.
Things.
So we're going to get ourselves kind of.
We
up
might
together.
be reviewing them right now.
Right now.
Yes.
Whether or not that will be curator approved, you'll have to wait and see. But we're so thankful that you tune in with us. We always want to tell you that. Thank you for tuning in with us. We know your time is precious, and we love spending time with you and sharing our views and thoughts on things.
So be healthy.
Be well.
And God bless you. Giveaway alert! We've partnered with Force of Nature so one of you has a chance to win your very own Force of Nature multi-purpose cleaner starter kit. Wondering how you can win? Tune into the episode. Leave us the comment, #April giveaway. That's #April giveaway on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Want a bonus entry? Visit our website, curatedclean.com/giveaway, and sign up for our newsletter for a double chance to win. Don't want to wait for the contest? We've got you covered with a custom code. It's CLEANTM30. That's CLEANTM30 for 30% off at forceofnatureclean.com. Valid until May 12th. Tell them that we sent you. And remember, we're Curated Clean, the podcast, where we get our hands dirty so you don't have to, new every Monday.
If you like listening to this podcast, stop by curatedclean.com, where you'll find links to all the different ways you can tune in each week, along with details from each episode. While you're there, sign up for our newsletter for further information on each topic we cover. For video versions of each episode, check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, where you can find glimpses of all things behind the scenes.